Issue 169. Jules tells Sonic that Adam is fortunately done with him now that he gave him Tails, but then says that he told him to go somewhere and self-destruct. Is he just assuming he's gonna do that without trying to make him do it? Because he's saying no worries. Why do you trust him to carry that out? That was really stupid of him. Like they just handed the villain the idiot ball. He reassures Sonic that he wasn't given a deadline and will live just as long as he was planning to. This is very convenient. Jules warns him that Adam is taking control of Tommy as he lies down on the floor for some reason. Adam brags happily that his device is summoning every Chaos Emerald on Mobius, as well as the Cyan Emeralds from the planet of that alien who put Sonic and Robotnik in a giant ant farm. I'm glad those kinda came back. And the Blue Emeralds from the Zorda planet. So there's 2 Blue Chaos Emeralds? It makes me sad that while the Red Emeralds got to have their own unique gimmick, what with summoning a separate Supersonic and stuff, none of the other non-green emeralds will get a different creative gimmick for them. It's a complete waste of a concept. Then Adam explains that the reason he knows this is because the emeralds are nice enough to tell him, as he's bound to the summoning spire. The purple emeralds come from the remains of Terragasa 6, which Sonic found destroyed, and I guess we'll never know what destroyed it. So much for wrapping up a dangling plot thread. And Adam explains that the star that consumed Eve, really? Odd, I don't remember that happening. I mean, I vaguely remember her heading for a star, but I didn't think she was going to that star to kill herself. But yeah, that star is going dark as its fuel, the yellow Chaos Emeralds, are being pulled away. And the gray Chaos Emeralds are leaving their resting places on Argentum. I thought it was spelled Argentium. The Bem planet, as in. After Adam brags that he has all the emeralds in the universe, he points out that he's missing the Master Emerald, which is technically a Chaos Emerald. Why didn't the Beacon summon it too? Well, apparently it must be because both Locke and Finitibus are protecting it, reciting the SA1 Chaos chant. Well, that was awful nice of him. Makes sense Finitibus would want to stop Adam. And I guess the Master Emerald warned them that they have to do this. Finitibus then thinks that he needs Master Emerald for his own plans, because of course he does. Sonic complains as he finally shows up to Adam. Yeah, that's what I get for taking it slow and cautious for once. He did? Why? Then he actually points out that Adam said we instead of I, and he's given the needlessly dark news that Tommy is still alive and conscious as he's under his control. What would Adam possibly have to gain in keeping him conscious? Alive is a host to make Sonic hold back, sure, but conscious? I mean, I guess he'd hold back to avoid causing him pain? Adam insists that he's fulfilling his function and doing all of this to make Eggman proud of him. When Eggman naturally yells at him and wants him destroyed, proving that his whole motive is kind of pointless, because it's not going to work, Adam says, "You will love me best, father." And Sonic actually lampshades, Shadow isn't this angsty. He's not really angsty because Adam never really shows any emotion. At least he has a fruity excuse. After he sees Tommy's head looking scared, he apologizes to him, and Adam takes full advantage of it to attack Sonic. Eggman tells him reassuringly to keep him busy for a few more minutes because his egg fleet's on its way. Sonic insists that he's not losing Tommy, and Adam decides on more drastic measures. Sonic runs up a green wall, and then immediately Sonic turns super with him without any sort of explanation for it. I mean, I guess he was running up a wall full of Chaos Emeralds and they let him transform without him touching them. But that doesn't explain why Shadow could go super so easily despite being trapped in the pod. I mean, I guess the whole point of him being in the pod was so that Super Shadow would have his Chaos control and get those emeralds. So yeah, that does make sense, but why would he keep being super even after being out of the pod? This feels so convenient, like the heroes are just going super so easily. Sonic says that he'll get rid of all the nanites from Adam, and Eggman frees Super Shadow and a dazed Tails. Oh, Tails with Turbo Tails. I didn't even notice until I saw his cape. That's why they should have made him orange like the first time. Why is Tails trying to talk all formal and adult all of a sudden? What, just because he's in his super form? He says that this much power can't exist here, so they have to send it to a safe place. Then Tails contradicts himself with a nonsensical text box, as first he asks Shadow if he can open a portal to the nearest zone, but then he says not another dimension entirely. Hello? Other zones are other dimensions. They're other universes. And somehow Shadow gets the idea to summon the Zone of Silence specifically. causing Tails to complain about how many times he shows up. Yeah, especially with almost no development to his actual contents as a universe. Shadow complains looking strange that this isn't easy, and Tails says he has to fulfill the prophecy. And then he randomly gets the idea out of complete nowhere that what he was expected to do all along was unify all the Chaos Emeralds. Nobody told him he had to do that. Shadow wonders what will happen with all that energy in such an unstable zone. Adam brags that in his super form he's invincible, and then Tommy pops out apologizing for it taking him so long to win back control. He apologizes for all the trouble he's dragged him into, and then apologizes for letting Adam do this. He's acting like he caused trouble aside from that. Somehow I feel sorry for him here. I'm apologizing unnecessarily. Then Tommy tells him that Adam will win back control eventually and he won't get it back. So he has to destroy Adam so that everyone will be cured of their nanite infections. Wait, so the nanites wouldn't just continue causing the problems on their own? I guess they were only acting out because Adam was hacking them to control them remotely. So Tommy sacrifices himself, causing Sonic to stop being super because he's too upset, and yet he doesn't immediately fall screaming to the ground and continues to fly for some reason. As Tails cries and Shadow looks like he's trying way too hard to frown, Eggman calls family a colossal waste of time. Well, anyone twisted enough to want to be part of his family, of course they'd turn on him all evil-like. Eggman tells Sonic that he's had too long a day to deal with him, so he's letting him go. And Sonic sadly comes up to Tails, holding what's left of Tommy, in a moment that kind of reminds me of when he brought Tails what was left of Cosmo in Sonic X. He compliments that Tommy turned out to be the bravest freedom fighter of them all. The story ends with Sonic saying to Tails comfortingly, "Come on bro, we need to get my dad home." In the next story, the Chaotix all contact each other about where they are, and we see Espio going to Golden Hive Castle, which is now a base for Eggman. Surprisingly, he intimidates an Eggpon into telling him where the main computer is when you'd think it'd be programmed to never tell him that. Espio gets past some Eggpons who show personality by playing cards on the computer. He shows personality by seeming to give the robot advice for no reason, and then he uses Nicole to hack the system. As he stands over the destroyed remains of robots, he finally asks himself why Eggman programmed his robots to pointlessly show fear. Yeah, especially since it made one of them betray him. It's just going to be a detriment to them. Nicole shows her cleverness by figuring out that it's because Eggman's a sadist, and he fills the void in his life with robots. Espio asks her if her talking about this is slowing down her hacking, and Nicole replies wittily, "Yes, but it is a moot point. I'm in." I really like her when she's being witty and clever. It makes it more interesting. It's revealed why they came here, to find out what happened to Charmy's family and kingdom, which were never really fleshed out or elaborated on because Eggman took it over without us ever seeing it again, aside from one issue. Nicole explains that there's no records on numbers captured otherwise, and she's found video and image files of the invasion. She says that anyone who wasn't captured in the kingdom fled, and the Golden Hive colony has been completely converted into a base to serve Eggman. When he's told the kingdom is gone, Espio says the great line, "Then Eggman won't have it either." He then leaves from a huge explosion that made me think he can suddenly work with smoke bombs, and he reveals how much he truly cares about Charmy, saying, "Dr. Robotnik hurt Charmy, I hurt him back." This issue is written by Ian Flynn. The first story starts out with some really big conveniences that I found pretty implausible. Jules was released from Adam's control by Adam himself, and Adam just trusted that he'd self-destruct on his own, so Sonic gets his father back really easily. And then Sonic and Shadow go super, although it makes sense because there's so many Chaos Emeralds near them. And the whole point of Shadow and Tails being there was to force them to be super for Adam's plan. But still, they go super just like that without several issues of trying to collect all those emeralds. I like that it's explained why the Master Emerald stayed on Angel Island. Locke and Finitivis teamed up to keep it there. I guess the Emerald warned them to. I like that Tails sealed the emeralds in his own asylum to keep them away from Adam, but I don't understand why he's talking as if he knew this was exactly what he was always meant to do. What about this is a great harmony? I like them being in the Zone of Silence though. It's always been a super magical place where the magic is so out of control powerful that it makes Ixis a god and makes people lose their minds. The latter of which makes me question how any living beings were able to live and evolve there, like the frogs that were the king's subjects. And Tommy sacrifices himself to stop the nanite infections. When you compare this to Johnny's death in the Fleetway comic, well, I don't know Johnny's details, but at least Tommy sacrificed himself for the greater good and went out with a bang, instead of simply being killed by Eggman. If they have to kill off a freedom fighter to remove excess baggage, at least he went out doing something useful. And for literally the first time at that. I mean, sure, he stopped an electrocution, but Tails could have done the same thing. Only Tommy could have stopped this. It feels like such a gigantic waste of a character that this is literally the first time he's been necessary, and it kills him. But again, it was because of another implausible convenience, ranging on Deus Ex Machina territory, as somehow Adam loses control of Tommy so that he can do this in the first place. It was an epic conclusion, but it was a little too convenient and easy to be fully believable. I'm really glad Jules got out okay though. I thought he'd be recaptured by Eggman. In the second story, as Espio go on a mission with Nicole to find out what happened to Charmy's kingdom. Espio and Nicole don't really get enough screen time together. I love that Nicole started having a Link's head icon on the computer to interact with people. It really helps add personality, and that's exactly her intent. It's baffling that it took this long for Nicole to be like this. Really, the story is pointless other than proving that Espio, for the serious cold ninja that he is, still cares about Charmy and would do anything for a friend. But has the overly convenient plot hole of a robot telling Espio where the main computer is, when he shouldn't have the free will to betray Eggman so easily. If every robot was able to do that to try to save themselves, his empire would have been crushed by now. So that's the end of the issue, and I really have to wonder how they could top this because this was a really epic storyline, but not at an issue that's a round number.